first we're going to go to the stock of the day, which is New Hope Corporation. It has operations spanning coal mining, exploration, port operation, oil, ag, as well as innovative technologies. Now, investors are in for a massive final dividend of 31 cents per share plus a 25% per share special payout. Net profit after tax surged from $79.4 million to $983 million for the 12-month reporting period. Thermal coal prices continue to increase, driving strong revenue growth, up 143.5% to $2.6 billion. Chief Executive Rob Bishop said strong demand and global supply constraints pushed thermal coal prices to record levels. So let's take a look at how those shares are performing today. There they are, okay, up 6% today to $5.82. Scott, let's go to you first. What's your take on New Hope?
G'day, good to be with you. Look, this is, I think, one of the very best run coal businesses in the country, and probably no surprise because it's part of the Soul Patts family, Washington H. Soul Pattinson. Of course, about 60% of New Hope, I think, from memory. A very big and very successful individual business, but conglomerate as well. And the same sort of approach you'd expect. One of the most cost-conscious, capital-friendly, best capital managers, I think, in the space. So that's all really positive. The challenge for investors right now is the coal price and, as a result, the share price. Over the past 6 months, the growth has been astronomical. They've done incredibly well because the coal price has been rising. You've already talked about that special dividend and the result today, and the resultant share price increase, which I'm almost a bit surprised the market was surprised by. We kind of knew what those numbers were already going to be. The share price had already grown strongly, so it's already in a really, really nice position. The challenge with any commodity companies, you've got to ask yourself, is this the new normal? Are we going to have permanently higher coal prices, or is there potentially some risk of downside to the coal price? Because again, if you're a miner, you get to control your operational costs, you get to control your operational efficiencies, but you can't control the sale price. And so if we do have a reduction, maybe even just a return to normal of the coal price, the New Hope's going to have not much choice but to simply get less revenue from every ton of coal that it digs up and exports. And that's the crux of the New Hope valuation question right now. Look, there's an argument to be made that there are fewer coal mines being approved, and so those that remain in operation are probably more valuable than they've ever been in terms of their contribution to the world's coal exports and usage. That's absolutely true. On the flip side, of course, the question of how long they are allowed to remain operating, both the mines themselves, but also the power plants that they tend to support. Of course, coal is also used in steel making, so you've got that as well. Thermal coal for energy and metallurgical coal for steel making. I like New Hope. I like the management price. I just don't like the commodity price at the moment. And I think taking on shares right now exposes you to more risk and not enough return. So I would be selling this one if I own them. As a Soul Patts shareholder, I should disclose, I kind of hope Soul Patts also sells their stake because now will probably be a very good time. But I'm also reminded that Rob Milner has a very long record of success at Soul Patts. So he's probably a better arbiter and a better judge than I am on this one.
How would you agree with Scott that it's a sell?
Yeah, I mean, I think Scott summed it up extremely well indeed. You don't want to be investing in things that produce commodities at the time when commodity prices are high, because there's only one direction for them to go from the time they're high, and that's down again. And, if coal prices did actually, let's take a hypothetical. Let's assume coal prices stayed in the sort of region they are now for a significant period of time. Seeing as the world needs energy and doesn't want to burn coal, all that would do is something that I would be very pleased if it did, and that is create far greater enthusiasm for nuclear power. And with the small modular nuclear reactors now that they can build very quickly and at relatively low cost, all that would happen is it would be replaced by cheaper nuclear power. So that won't help in the steel industry, but the steel industry is only a small part of the total amount of coal being used. And there's plenty of coal in the earth. So the problem is not a shortage of coal in the earth, it's a shortage of licenses to produce it. But as Scott said, if you want to have some exposure to New Hope coal and you want to do it through something that's a lot less volatile, buy Soul Pattinson. If you look at New Hope coal's record over the last 10 years, this is the first year in 10 years that they've actually made a decent return on equity. So you're getting a once in 10 year good profit. It's highly unlikely you're going to get more than about 1 in 10 of the following 10 years. So like Scott, if I owned it, and no TeamInvest members I'm sure do, we'd be happy to sell it. A number of TeamInvest members do own Soul Pattinson, and my guess is they would have exactly, I don't, but they would have exactly the same reaction, I think, as Scott, and that is that while prices are so high, great time probably to be selling it rather than buying it.